call this meeting to order at 6:01 p.m. I'd like to remind everyone present, you may not record video or audio tape and or leave any cell phone on without permission. It's now time for the disclosure of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof for the agenda for this meeting and for minutes of a meeting in which a member was not in attendance. Seeing none, we'll move. There's no delegations or deputations, so we'll move forward. Moved by Councillor Hager, seconded by Councillor Butterfield. Resolved that the Council of the Corporation and Municipality of Red Lake hereby consider sections 4 to 8 of the Part 1 consent agenda as read and adopt the items. Does any councillor have any questions? Items 4 through 8, and I'll start with Councillor Hager.
Nope.
Councillor Christoph?
I have nothing, no.
Councillor Perdue? Pardon me?
Nope.
No. And Councillor Butterfield?
Nothing.
All in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Christoph, seconded by Councillor Hager. Resolved that the Council of the Corporation and the Municipality of Red Lake hereby consider all bylaws, Section 9 of the Part 1 consent agenda as read without amendment or debate a first and second time. All in favor? Carried. And moved by Councillor Butterfield, seconded by Councillor Hager. Resolved that the Council of the Corporation and the Municipality of Red Lake hereby consider all bylaws, Section 9 of the Part 1 consent agenda as read a third time and passed. Does any councillor have any questions regarding Section 9 of the Part 1 consent agenda? I'll start with Councillor Christoph.
I have none.
Thank you. Councillor Perdue?
I have none.
Councillor Butterfield?
I have none.
Councillor Hager?
Yeah, I would like to just pull 9.7.
9.7. Okay, Councillor Hager, 9.7. Please go ahead.
I think it's just, I agree with it. I'm not voting against it or anything. This is the bylaw for entering into an agreement with the Highway 105 Tourism. So the fact that we're collecting the map tax, we're going to have money, we're going to share it with them 50% of whatever we receive. And part of the wording indicates that they will come and, or rather, they will present a report saying how the money was used. I think it's very important that we track that to ensure, because it is it's the corridor, the tourism, like the marketing board. So to ensure how is that money being spent here in Red Lake. So my request would be, is there any way when it comes time to give that report, could it also be where they come and present it? In the same way that we have, other people, so that we can actually ask questions if we want.
No, for sure.
It'll be interesting to see how much we make and then how it's used.
For sure, and I appreciate those comments. I think that's a wonderful idea because we want to ensure through these dollars collected that they're working on the Red Lake area, not the entire 105 corridor, and that's what this is about, Red Lake. So I would wholeheartedly support that for them coming in to give an analogy on where dollars are spent and what their forecast looks like for any type of advertising for our tourism sector. So thank you for that. Any other comments regarding that? Okay, seeing none. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. And now we will move down to Part 2 of our regular agenda, referred and deferred items, 10.1 Crown Land for discussion. And leaving it off from our last discussion, I'm not sure if the CAO would like to start this off.
Well, yeah, this definitely is a continuation from our committee of the whole meeting. And I'm hoping that the council, mayor and council, had an opportunity over the last week to review the areas, particularly those that are owned by the Crown. I will make note, there was discussion about a Crown piece that you can hone into the area of the Skookum Bay, St. Paul's Bay area. There was discussion about a piece that borders Skookum Bay and that and then the main body of Red Lake. That, it shows that it is Crown, and staff did do some research and confirm that it is Crown property. So there might be some challenge with access, but there might be an opportunity to create some waterfront cottage type lots in this area. So just throwing that out there. As an option. I mean, I think from a staff perspective, if there was, you know, it could be 3-4 properties that we're serious about that we can engage the ministry with, that would be helpful for staff.
Great, thank you, Mr. CAO. So does council have any recommendations to move forward? If I start with Councillor Christoph.
Yeah, so, there was, my choice would be the new cut by, Harry's Corner there that goes in behind the lake, that area there. And behind the Scoop Raid, that area. And then, if there's an opportunity there for that Scoop area, that would be good. Those would be 2 spots for me.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else? Councillor Nick?
I'm going to just, say I agree with what Councillor Christoph has suggested.
Fabulous, okay. Councillor Purdue?
Yeah, I think those two are good, and not just the behind Mirror Lake, but even out to the Delaware, there's a road just there. Just for, if we're gonna be looking at those two,
The back, all the way.
on the back end of Delaware, that yellow section there, there's a, like one that there's purple and then there's another one.
Is that the one that Councillor Christoph brought up last time?
Yes.
Committee of the whole? Yeah. Okay.
So, just if we're gonna be looking at multiple lots, and there's already, it might be better access for multiple lots, because I think we should be doing more.
And that would be waterfront property over there, would it not?
There would be both.
Be some.
To do the little.
That might be able to be serviced as
Yeah,
well.
so, I think those two areas are where it's clear, our best option would cost us the least amount of money to develop to where we need it.
For sure.
So just to be clear, that's the property just off of Dallin Washington subdivision. Right there.
Yeah, yes,
Correct, okay.
those two, and then one on the other side to the purple, behind the East Crescent.
Any other suggestions, Councillor Purdue?
The other ones are fine.
Okay. Councillor Butterfield?
I'm thinking the same as well. Same portions on. Yeah.
So would council concur for directions for staff to move forward with those 3 Crown areas and start some discussions with the ministry and hopefully us obtaining those colors of Crown line? Would I have consensus on that?
It's a 3 or 4, so
Okay, this is
three is a start there.
Yep. So do we have consensus on this then, with everybody? Yes?
Yes.
Councillor Christoph, yes? Okay. Fabulous. So, staff has some direction in which way they can start moving forward, and hopefully we can, have some discussions with the ministry and minister about obtaining some Crown land. Since we only own 3% of the vacant land in Red Lake, I think would be most helpful for our municipality to move forward. So thank you for that. Reports of council, 11.1 is Councillor Christoph. Are you able to speak about the Northwestern Health Unit, Councillor Christoph?
Yeah, I can. So I sat in on the meeting last week. It was just interesting on how they discussed about areas, and, they're saying it's all route travel. So that was a big thing when they lifted the restriction in February, people got relaxed to travel, and it all essentially came from the Bay Area. So it was just one thing that I heard out of there was just, we have to be very careful and diligent if we're going out. Only go for essential reasons, medical. And the other two was, questions were brought up about advertising and about the travel. And the health unit said, well, they'll put it in their weekly flyers and any other communications that they do. But it was asked from gentlemen that can there be something more specific put out by them about travel and just letting everybody know that, hey, be aware of travel because this is why it's happening in our areas. So Dr. Kidd had said that the Northwestern Health Unit would send something to each municipality specifically on that. And something that possibly maybe we could throw in a weekly or bi-weekly flyer or something like that. I don't know if you guys have received anything yet or not from the Northwestern Health Unit about that. But they were going to highlight travel, just explaining that. So it was just rather interesting. It was rather good. There's a lot of discussion and talk about all the cases, just about travel and how it's being transmitted. So just something I wanted to pass on. We have to be aware of all that.
Okay, great, thank you. And just for your information, I had Councillor Christoph ask a question for me in regards to the reporting methods. So, for example, they're still reporting if there is a positive case of COVID-19 in our district. They're still reporting it as Dryden Red Lake when it initially comes out until the Wednesday formats come out where they see the breakdown. So I was kind of curious as to why they just don't report Red Lake or Dryden or wherever the case is existing initially. And my conversation with Councillor Christoph says they may be looking at changing that. I believe that's correct, is it not?
Yes, it is. So when I asked that question, Dr. Kidd had said it's because there's either one case or 0 cases. So based on confidentiality, they didn't feel comfortable saying, oh, there's one case in Red Lake. Because then you would pretty much know who that one case is. And now it's starting to get more and more. And there's been a lot of questions about this, and a lot of people saying, hey, you report on the specific areas. And so she said they were going to bring it back to the committee and discuss that, and that there is a possibility that they could go back to doing that instead of just once a week. But when they report it where it's actually happening. Because yes, we're all supposed to expect that it's in our community, but when you know it's in your community, people are going to be different than if it just might be in our community. So I think it's actually a good thing if we do know if it's in our area, because when you do know, people will act differently and probably will be a little more cautious.
Great.
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you so much for the update. Appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, 11. I think there's an 11-2 that's missing on the agenda here. Is that right there? What's missing on my paper copy, but 11.2 is.
11.2, except that it's
Councilor
under
Hager.
volunteer recognition, but it's.
Go ahead.
But I was intending to speak about the essential workers acknowledging.
For sure.
So it's not necessarily volunteers. Can I still speak to it?
Sure.
Okay. So this is with regards to a year ago we had the discussion, or not a year ago, last June. We looked at the city of Brantford when they made their resolution, and that they were petitioning the government to ask for March 17th be a day to acknowledge the essential workers across Ontario with regards to COVID-19. And I remember Councillor Verduke actually mentioning, like, one day, why don't we go for longer? So after our discussion, we did agree that we would support their petition, but then we also concurred that we as a community should be acknowledging the essential workers. Never did I believe that we would still be needing these essential workers to the extent that we do today. This is like a year later. But because this is March, and we're already in the middle of March, I'm just recommending that we make a point of putting something in our newsletter just to acknowledge this, the efforts of our essential workers in this area.
Wholeheartedly agree, 100%.
So it's not about, I do agree with volunteer recognition, but maybe we can talk about that at a later point.
Okay, for sure. So you'd like to bring that back on another item?
Yes.
At a later point. So in respect to acknowledging our frontline workers and essential workers, if I'm hearing you correctly, and please correct me if I'm wrong, you'd like to see something go out in the newsletter with recognition so the entire community can see that?
Exactly, that we want to just acknowledge, but I would love to see us do something later on too, once we have the opportunity to be able to meet more freely too.
No, and I think that's important, and we also discussed our volunteer point, not to go back on the volunteerism, but I think it's important that we recognize also our volunteers in the community that are the backbone of our community that make things happen. So it might be something we can do in a larger event at some point when we're able to congregate. So with that being said, would council be okay with putting something out in the newsletter, staff to draw something up and put something out in the yellow newsletter for our community to see in recognition of all those frontline essential workers? Yep. Good. Mr. Stevens, good? Okay, great, thank you very much. I've got nothing here. Okay, so it's 12.1, CAO Kosher Arena for discussion.
Thank you. So the intention was for the Kosher Arena to be open through March 31st, but now since we have moved into red, and giving consideration that our facilities manager has made contact with all the user groups, and the majority are in concurrence that it really doesn't make sense to keep the arena open. And actually many of the groups have already ceased their operations. So our recommendation is that effective first thing tomorrow morning, we shut down the Kosher Arena, essentially because it won't be used. If it is used, it will be very minimal, and there's an opportunity to save some operating costs.
Any questions? Everyone agree? Yeah. Councilor Christoph? Yep. Okay. Fabulous, thank you. Am I missing anything? Just before we conclude with the ending of our meeting, as staff and council are aware, this is our treasurer's last council meeting, Ms. Gagne, and I personally like to thank you for everything you've done for the municipality of Red Lake and how you've represented the municipality and all of the work that you have done for us. And I'd like to say thank you so much for your dedication to our community, and you're going to be sadly missed, but I'm sure we'll see you maybe returning on some weekends. But you're going to be sadly missed around the office here and the work that you do for our community, and I wanted to personally, along with council, to say thank you very much for everything that you've done for us. So thank you. So that being said, moved by Councilor Christoph, seconded by Councilor Butterfield, resolved that the council, the corporation, the municipality of Red Lake hereby adjourns to meet again at the call of the mayor. All in favor? Carried. Thank you very much.